I may be a Zoomer, but I feel like I still had a very millennial childhood. My mom and I were poor, so we'd often go to Blockbuster for fun. I grew up with a CRT, no Wi-Fi, no iPad, and living in the countryside of Alaska, had to play outside for a majority of my elementary school days. I was introduced to anime when I was still a toddler. My aunt liked anime, so she would give my mom DVDs to show me, most notably Sailor Moon and Slayers, both of which I'll be talking about in this video. If you're an anime fan who got into it before hitting puberty, you know that the shows you watched as a child can deeply affect you in a way that other people wouldn't understand. I have a lot of anime like that because ever since I was a little kid, I always was drawn to anime over regular cartoons. Didn't help that I never had cable, so like I mentioned, I lived solely off DVDs that we owned or borrowed. So I'd end up watching the same episodes of anime over and over again, which just deepened the impact the shows had on me. In this video, I want to talk about all of these anime, what I loved and still love about them, and how I think they affected me and shaped me as a person. The first anime I want to talk about is an anime I've mentioned before on this channel, Strawberry Marshmallow or Ichigo Mashimaro. The way I was introduced to this anime was through our local Blockbuster video, which had a surprisingly robust anime collection, as you'll soon realize, since Blockbuster is the way I discovered a lot of the shows in this list. First airing on Japanese television in the summer of 2005, Strawberry Marshmallow is a 12-episode slice of life series, following the daily adventures of 4 elementary school girls as well as an older sister of one of the girls. The series takes place over an entire year, and thus is split pretty perfectly into the 4 seasons, made especially obvious by the artwork on the DVD covers when released. Each one represents a different yearly season. Disc 1 is spring, Disc 2 is summer, and Disc 3 includes both autumn and winter. Funnily enough, however, our Blockbuster only ever carried the last 2 discs, or the last 8 episodes, but I wanted to rent it so often and loved it so much that my mom ended up ordering the first DVD for me on eBay, allowing me to watch it in its intended order. I don't have those copies anymore, but I rebought the whole series at a video game/trading chain called The Exchange for pretty cheap, and each one is a complete copy with adorable mini posters inside, reversible covers, and extra illustrations. The show follows 4 6th grade girls, as well as one of the girls' older sister, who sort of acts as a caretaker of the group. There's Mew, the crazy and silly character who comes up with most of the weird activities the girls end up doing. Mew is very antagonistic to the other characters, always picking fights and making fun of the others, usually to get a laugh. She often gets in trouble at school due to her devil-may-care attitude and refusal to do most of her schoolwork. In terms of cute girls doing cute things archetypes, she easily falls into the bouquet or wise guy section. Mew is often paired with Chica, who acts as the straight man to Mew's antics. Although, to be fair, all the characters tend to react, often negatively, to Mew's antics. Mew and Chica have a particular bond because they grew up together, so Chica knows how to handle her best. And Chica is very normal. Even her older sister says that she doesn't really have any remarkable qualities. She does well in school, likes to bake, and acts almost like the mom of the group, even more so than her older sister sometimes. Moving on, Matsuri is the crybaby. She acts especially childlike compared to the other girls, despite being only a year younger than Mew and Chica and the same age as Anna. Matsuri is very naive, timid, and unsure of herself. She cries at the drop of a hat, and overall kinda gives off the vibe of a kicked puppy. Lastly, there's Anna, who I've already talked about extensively in this video, because she's my favorite character in the show and has an interesting gimmick. Anna is from Cornwall, England, with 2 white parents who immigrated to Japan when she was very little. Over time, Anna tried to adapt to Japan as earnestly as possible to prove that she wasn't a scary foreigner to her various classmates over the years. In the end though, by the time she got to 6th grade, she had completely forgotten how to speak English and was actually worse at it than most of the Japanese kids. Despite this, on the first day at her new school, she pretends to not be able to speak Japanese and makes it her goal to return to her British roots by only speaking English before realizing that she can't. She's placed in Matsuri's class, and although Matsuri is kind of racist to her at first, learns Anna's secret and promises to not tell anyone. However, both Chika and Miu find out as well, and they welcome her to the friend group. Nobue is often seen smoking and even begs her 11-year-old sister for sig money when she runs out. Her hobbies include drinking booze and playing with her little sister and her 3 friends. Although somewhat irresponsible, Nobue actually does a pretty good job of taking care of the girls, treating them to snacks, and taking them on various outings. Compared to the rest of the anime I'll be talking about in this video, I feel like Strawberry Marshmallow introduced me the most to various aspects of Japanese culture. As a young kid living in the States, especially a rural area, I didn't know very much about other countries. Anime, particularly slice-of-life shows, were a small window into a culture different from my own, and I think Strawberry Marshmallow exemplified that. For example, I was introduced to a few foods that I'd never heard of before, like Japanese hot pot or nabe, barley tea, and persimmons or kaki. It was also interesting to see older characters not embarrassed to bathe with close friends or family, something that I stopped doing when I was around 5 to 6 years old. Strawberry Marshmallow also introduced summer festivals to me, along with yukata, which you should be extremely familiar with if you've ever watched any slice-of-life anime, especially romance series. The last bit of Japanese culture that I absorbed through watching Strawberry Marshmallow that I feel is interesting enough to mention is when the girls play paper sumo or kamizumo, a children's game where you craft sumo wrestlers out of paper, place them in an arena, and tap the table or surface underneath the arena to make them bounce around. And the last one to fall off the arena wins. Other than introducing Baby Yori to Sugoi Nihon Bunka, Strawberry Marshmallow is overall just a very funny and at the same time heartfelt anime. Miu has so many gags that still make me laugh to this day.
もしもしお蕎麦屋さん、注文ですが。なぜ蕎麦屋？アイス一つ。しかも自分のだけ？怒られた。当たり前っしょ。よーし、おまわりさんに。もう。にんにん。衣装が違う。みゆちゃん？違う。忍者でござろう。ことごとく間違ってる。
Every year, I keep finding Nobue more and more relatable, and Anna continues to be one of my favorite characters of all time. One day, I'd like to do a dedicated video for a lot of the anime I'll be talking about in this video, and Strawberry Marshmallow is no exception. I feel like I could say so much, and that's why I need to cut myself off here. We still have so many more anime to go through.
Let's leave all those details aside for a while.
No, don't leave them. Bring them here.
And bring them here. And what I bring here, I shrink to a little size and throw in the river.
Don't throw it in. Pick it up.
What I pick up from the river, I light on fire.
Snuff it out.
When I snuff it out, I knead it real good. Roll it in a ball and eat it.
Ah, what are you doing?
HarexGuu is a 26-episode anime that aired in Japan from April to September 2001. It's a surrealist comedy that follows a young boy, Hare, living in the jungle with his mom, when one day his mom, Weta, brings back a little girl called Guu who claims to be an orphan, with Weta deciding to adopt her. At first appearing cute and innocent, Hare quickly takes a liking to Guu as they chat and play board games together. However, the next morning, Guu's personality completely changes, taking on a bored expression and being pretty much apathetic to everything around her. However, no one else seems to notice Guu's change in appearance and personality except for Hare. Chaos ensues as Guu proceeds to eat everything around her, including Hare's TV, his pet bird, and various other objects, accompanied by disturbing sounds emanating from Guu's mouth as she devours them.
You see, that's called a banana. You peel it like this before you eat it, and then you just...
Yucky.
Oh, a bird!
Hare quickly realizes that Guu isn't a normal human girl, but instead some kind of horrific Lovecraftian entity beyond all comprehension, who has decided to spend all of her time messing with Hare for fun. HarexGuu was another young Mimi blockbuster discovery. From what I understand, despite the plus sign in the middle, similar to Hunter x Hunter, HarexGuu is pronounced HarexGuu, not Hare plus Guu. Its Japanese name is a bit longer and includes a pun in which Hare's name can be read as sunny in Japanese, being Janguru wa itsumo hare nochi guu, translating to the jungle was always sunny, then came goo. I'm glad Hare's name wasn't localized to be sunny in the dub.
All these women never treat me right.
In my opinion, HarexGuu is a ridiculously underrated comedy series. Every single episode is just so creatively off the rails. The comedy can only be described as something incomprehensibly strange happens and it somehow keeps outdoing itself. Hare and Guu as a duo are absolutely perfect, with Hare slowly losing his mind each episode from Guu's relentless attacks on his sanity, and Hare's dry humor to accompany all of the strangeness he's thrust into. Even just the character designs of the various creatures make me laugh. Since this anime takes place in a fictional jungle, nothing is off limits in terms of creatures or world building. I just can't get enough of how hilariously bizarre it is. It almost gives Smiling Friends vibes with certain jokes. The theme song, Love Tropicana, is incredibly catchy, and it randomly pops into my head from time to time. The dances they do in the intro are also iconic. Other than the humor, I can definitely see myself having been influenced a lot by the art style and color design of the series. Both as a kid and an adult, I'm particularly attracted to anime that are cute and colorful. HarexGuu fits the bill, so it's no wonder I begged to rent it over and over again. I remember drawing Guu a lot since her character design and clothes were so simple but at the same time adorable. On that note, I really liked Guu as a heroine due to how unconventional she was. Not only could she be super cute and friendly, but also rude, mischievous, disgusting, and cruel. That dichotomy really appealed to me, and even now, I love that such a cute, small, precious thing rips off a grown man's chest hair and proceeds to wear it as a wig. Speaking of, in 2022 or 2023, I found this gem in an FYE in a mall. When I found it, it was covered in disgusting brown tape, and I had no idea of the condition inside, and I'm pretty sure it was priced at around $40. And although I was broke and working at round 1, I decided to bring it up to the register anyway since it was so rare to see HarexGuu related anything, much less in a chain like FYE. When it was time to pay, for some reason the price was never updated or there was a mistake or something, but when scanned, the price was set at only $4. The minimum wage worker didn't really seem to notice or care about the price, and I was able to buy it like there wasn't anything unusual at all. Walking out of that FYE, you can imagine the absolute state of euphoria I was in. So let's look at the box in more detail, even though both items inside I've still kept sealed. It's a box set consisting of only the first HarexGuu DVD, and comes with a chest hair wig as seen in the show, hidden under this paper flap. As you can see, the chest hair wig afro thing is still sealed. I'm not planning on opening it anytime soon. And then, here's the DVD, and it's still sealed. I also don't really plan on opening it because it's cool. And that's pretty much it. I think this thing is pretty rare because as of writing this, I couldn't find a single listing of this particular item. I think I've seen it online before, but it's strange to be in possession of something that is not always available for purchase on eBay at all times. I'm sure if I looked harder, I could find it, but a simple search on Google and eBay brought up nothing. Despite the rarity, from what I've seen from Reddit and previous listings, I think this thing is worth at most around $100, having been priced at $40 MSRP. I also recently picked up this copy of HarexGuu Deluxe from a disc replay, so I'll show that off real quick too. HarexGuu is an easy recommendation from me. If you want a good comedy anime, I can't think of anything better. The dub is also really excellent from what I can remember, so if you're a dub-only watcher, you're covered. Definitely check it out.
女の子は自分の悩みに気づいてくれる男の優しさに弱いの。この子のハートはもういただきよ。
何を話してるかわかんないよ。やめましょうよ、ちびうさちゃん。覗き見なんて。
The only video on my channel solely about Sailor Moon is this video from almost exactly 4 years ago, which focuses on the 4th season of the original anime, Sailor Moon Super S. If you've seen that video, which I highly recommend, Since it's one of my favorite video essays I've ever made, despite it being old and me having a chopped mic quality, you'll know how deeply obsessed I am with this specific season of Sailor Moon. The reason for my deep obsession has a lot to do with the fact that I was given the season as a gift when I was really little. I've watched the whole thing dozens of times, and it's one of my prized possessions. As proof of my Sailor Moon dedication, here's a photo of me on my 5th birthday having a Sailor Moon themed party. And I'd also like to bring your attention to my humble collection of Chibiusa figures, who is easily one of my favorite characters of all time, and is essentially the main character of Sailor Moon Super S, since the whole plot of the season revolves around her relationship with Pegasus. Pegasus, or Helios, is the protector of the Golden Crystal and the protector of people's beautiful dreams. The Golden Crystal is the horn on his head and grants him immense power, which the villain of the season, Queen Nihilia, wishes to use to destroy Earth. While fleeing from Queen Nihilia, Pegasus finds refuge in Chibiusa's beautiful dream. Throughout the rest of the season, Chibiusa befriends Pegasus and helps to power up Sailor Moon and Chibi Moon into Super Sailors. In my original video, I delved into Chibiusa and Pegasus' relationship, which has striking similarities to any modern-day long-distance relationship. Not only that, multiple of the anime original episodes not depicted in the manga were about that same idea, which helped to bolster Chibiusa and Pegasus' arc. In that way, even as an adult, I found a connection to one of my favorite childhood characters, but I never really delved into why I found Chibiusa so relatable and comforting in the first place. People have their qualms with Chibiusa, or Rainy as she's referred to in the peak of all peak that is the Dick dub.
Graveyards give me the heebie-jeebies. All that silence, no computers. Let's go walk over there along the water. I can tell you exactly how that bridge was built.
I think you're the one who's gone weird, Melvin. You know darn well how hard Amy works.
But despite people's issues with her, brattiness, selfishness, picking on Usagi, I never really felt any animosity towards her. Super S was one of my first exposures to Sailor Moon, and although I've seen the previous seasons since then, I think my first impressions of Chibiusa made me view her introductions in a different light. Super S shows a very mature and introspective side to Chibiusa, a character who has grown up and learned a lot since first being sent from the future to train on Earth. So when I saw her humble beginnings, a scared, bratty, tantrum-throwing kid, I was reassured knowing that I'd get to see her transformation. Super S fully explores Chibiusa as a character, and one of my favorite episodes regarding her insecurities is episode 3, where Usagi's mom, Ikuko, is organizing photos. Chibiusa stumbles in, and Ikuko starts showing her some old pictures of Usagi as a child. Chibiusa realizes that there aren't any photos of her since she's only a visitor in the family and wasn't born into it, coming from the future and tricking the Tsukino family into believing that she's actually Usagi's cousin.
それはウサギが生まれたばかりの頃の写真よ。
トロンコ。これは？
幼稚園の学芸会でやったウサギの役ね。あ、これ、ほら見て。小学校に入った時の今のちびうさちゃんにそっくり。似てる。
でも、ここにあるのはウサギの写真ばっかり。私が写ってるのは一枚もない。
I really relate to Chibiusa's sadness here as someone who comes from a family with divorced parents. Growing up, I would stay with one parent the majority of the time, and only traveled to another state during Christmas and summer break to see the other parent and that side of the family. When visiting during the holidays and summer break, I'd always feel left out in a way. While I know that that side of the family I didn't see often still loved and cared about me, I didn't really get to do very many family events with them. I didn't understand the in-jokes, I missed out on camping trips, on family gatherings, birthdays, graduations. Not only that, they missed out on mine too. Worst of all, sometimes I'd walk through my cousin's or aunt's house and see photos of every single family member except for me. There's no one really at fault in the situation, and I don't blame anyone, it's just how it is. But as a kid who felt like an outsider even with my own blood relatives, I really related to Chibiusa's feelings here and still do. The scene ends with Ikuko sharing her dream with Chibiusa that all her kids grow up happy and healthy and shows her her favorite photo.
中でもこれが今一番の私のお気に入り。
いくこママ。
そして我が家のアルバムにちびうさちゃんとうさぎの花嫁姿の写真を飾るのが私の今一番の夢なの。
I think I'm full.
There's still some soup left. Why don't you finish it up?
Oh, I'm pretty stuffed. My stomach looks like it's ready to burst. See?
Wow, it makes your chest look even smaller.
Hey, what does that mean?
Originally a light novel written by Hajime Kanzaka, Slayers the anime first aired in April of 1995 and would go on to run for multiple seasons until 2009. The series follows Lena Inverse, a teenage sorceress prodigy who spends her time infiltrating bandit hideouts, blowing them up with magic, and stealing all of their loot for herself. Because of this, she's earned herself a reputation of being a maniacal villain, leaving destruction wherever she goes, which isn't too far from the truth. She's very self-centered, egotistical, and rude, but also tends to show up for others when it really matters most. Lena is accompanied by the powerful but idiotic swordsman Gauri Gabriev, whose ancestor was the carrier of one of the most powerful weapons, the Sword of Light, which he inherited. He's goofy and dumb, but has a heart of gold and perfectly balances out Lena's abrasive personality. We also get introduced to Zelgadis, an aloof half-golem man, Amelia, a naive and cheerful princess, as well as Sylphiel, a kind and timid girl, all in Season 1 of the series as party members. The best way I can describe the series is like a D&D campaign. All of the characters have great chemistry together, bouncing off jokes and jabs while running around from one destination to the next. If you enjoyed something like Dungeon Meshi, I would try this show out and see if it's your cup of tea. Slayers was dubbed and brought to the West only a year after its premiere in Japan in 1996 by a company called Central Park Media. They originally only dubbed the first 13 episodes as a test run, and when the series sold well, they continued dubbing the rest of the season in English well over a year later in 1998. Eric Stewart, who you may know as the voice of both Brock and James in the Pokemon anime, voiced the deuteragonist Gauri, and it was only his second ever anime dubbing role. Many of the English performances in Slayers are questionable, especially when it came to the side characters. The dub of this anime can be incredibly unintentionally funny sometimes.
Yes, that's right.
Good. Let's go.
Huh? Hey, wait, let me go!
Oh, yes, I agree. I much prefer being outdoors. I'm sorry. I didn't see anything at all.
I think the most striking thing about Slayers is how cool Lena is as a protagonist. She's a 4'10" homeless girl with magic powers who steals from bandits and thieves to hawk all their treasure to make money, eats like Goku, and can't get a boyfriend, but she's still the most powerful sorceress around, can crumble ancient demons with a single spell, and is overall just a badass. She's certainly no Mary Sue though. She's whiny, bratty, and lazy, and throughout the series is thrown into a lot of battles where she gets the crap kicked out of her. My favorite running gag in the show is the implication that female magic users lose their powers when on their period, which happens to Lena only a few episodes in, severely weakening her. Lena comes off very much as a devil-may-care delinquent with a hidden soft side, similar to characters like Yusuke Urameshi or Jotaro. She acts like she doesn't give a crap about you, would sell you down the river for a plate of food, but will always show up for you when it really matters. Speaking of Yu Yu Hakusho, I couldn't help but feel some striking similarities between Gauri and Kuwabara while watching. Both are pretty dumb, are the main character's right-hand man, and carry a sword of light. They also both shout something when their light sword is unsheathed.
Light come forth! Spirit sword!
I have to admit, I do like Kuwabara a bit more than Gauri though. I even have this Nendroid of him. It may sound corny, but Slayers kinda taught me that a female lead could be the strongest character in a group with other really powerful dudes. Watching Slayers as a child really felt like baby's first feminism because although I had a lot of great female representation in cartoons and anime, none of them were really fighters. Sure, there was Sailor Moon, but the violence in Sailor Moon was always very sparkly and glamorous with magic wands and chiming bells. Lena was throwing fireballs, sword fighting, and getting slammed into rocks on the regular. I love the action in Sailor Moon and would never say that it's worse than Slayers, but I'm glad that both types exist, if you know what I mean. To me, Lena always felt like a cool older sister. She was flawed, sure, but she also stole the show whenever she entered the room. She has so much confidence, charisma, and power while still being a relatable girl who wants to get married, eat yummy food, and lay around and do nothing sometimes. Are you sick and tired of boring and plain t-shirts and sweaters? Wouldn't you rather wear something with a cute, blue, swirly glasses wearing otaku girl on it instead? Well, do I have just the deal for you? By clicking the Teespring link in the description of this video, you will find my store page where we have this adorable mimiyori design available on a t-shirt, sweatshirt, and mug, illustrated by yours truly. Here we have the editor of all my videos, Dylan, modeling both the pink t-shirt design and lilac sweatshirt. These items are unisex and can be worn by any gender, as well as coming in tons of different colors. If you want to support me while also getting some unique and comfortable merch, consider checking out the link in the description today.
Mimiyori is not liable for comfy coziness while wearing her sweaters. Side effects include falling asleep and dreaming of little baby kittens and puppies. If you have issues with shipping, please contact Teespring since they handle all of that, as Mimiyori only provided the design and has no involvement in the shipping process. I really got you this time, Akito! I got a nice picture of you with your pants down. Oh, and here it comes now! My, this is gonna be a good one.
Kodomo no Omocha, commonly referred to as Kodocha, is an explosively popular shoujo manga series created by Miho Obana, and only a year after its first chapter was released in Ribbon magazine, was adapted into an anime series that aired from 1996 to 1998. In 2005, it was dubbed into English by Funimation, with my GOAT Laura Bailey voicing Sana, the main character, and my other GOAT Jerry Jewell voicing the deuteragonist Akito.
To Sana. Welcome home?
The story follows the eccentric, kind, but assertive middle schooler Sana Kurata, who also works as a child actress. It's a comedy/drama that follows her adventures of trying to help out everyone around her, most notably Akito Hayama in Season 1. Akito is the class bully and rallies all of the boys in their class to endlessly attack and poke fun at their teacher. Sana is the one who makes it her goal to put a stop to it, find Akito's weak spot, and take away his control over the classroom. Over the course of the season, we find out about Akito's difficult home life, Sana's manager Rei's lost love, and Sana and her mother's troubled past, all while Sana struggles to juggle her life and her acting career. It's an incredibly funny, suspenseful, and beautiful series that represents the absolute best of shoujo anime, and if you've never tried the genre, I wholeheartedly recommend it as a jumping off point. It's difficult to describe my love for this series, as it's the kind of love that resonates deep within my soul, my very existence. Sana as a character almost feels like a piece of me broken off, a character that when watching as a child I absorbed into my consciousness. Her bombastic, energetic personality, her ruthlessness, her genuine kindness, I wanted to be her, and I still want to be her. I still smile at every gag, every song she breaks into. When I was a kid, becoming a middle schooler felt like such a far-off dream, that Sana was this pillar of maturity and strength. Nowadays, I'm 23, and I still kind of feel that way about her. Sana's strength comes not only from her overwhelming sincerity, but also her ability to spring into action, to know what she wants and take it. I think Sana is one of the reasons I was able to grow out of my crippling shyness as a kid. From 1st to 4th grade, I was deathly afraid of asking for help during school. I'd never raised my hand and was overall very quiet and made myself invisible. I'd do well in school and teachers liked me, but I'd be so afraid to raise my hand even for something as simple as going to the bathroom. To me, Sana is the ultimate role model not only for little girls, but for everyone. Be unapologetically yourself, be a go-getter, but never step on people or make them feel small. Help everyone around you. Something that resonated deeply with me while watching the show growing up was Sana's relationship with her mother, Misako. While my mom isn't a quirky, rich novelist who wears a squirrel on her head, she did raise me as a single mother, and we would often banter and bicker with each other like how Misako and Sana do. Similar to Misako, my mom is also quite a free-spirited person and let me pave my own path in life. while also disciplining me by making sure I got my homework done, ate the right food, and did my chores. Sana and Misako are portrayed as only having each other. They are each other's only family, a small family, but one built on unconditional love, support, and communication. They do argue and get in fights sometimes, but are always brought together again by their love and trust in each other. I just adore their dynamics so much and love how important Misako is in Sana's life.
Guess there's nothing I can do about it. And there's no point worrying about something you can't do anything to fix. There's no point worrying about things you can't fix. There's no point worrying about things you can't fix. Thinking too much is like thinking about nothing, like water in the desert trying to make the plants grow. You're wasting precious brain space on itchy, scratchy stuff, and when you should be filling it with sugar cookie dough. When you're feeling unhappy, don't think, don't think. When you're feeling kind of sad, don't think, don't think. Cause there's no point thinking about the things that you're thinking about, the things that you're thinking about, and make a thing and rough. And that's how Sana stays so happy. That one's mine.
May, stop that. Sit down and eat.
My Neighbor Totoro, or Tonari no Totoro, was Hayao Miyazaki's third Ghibli film after Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind and Castle in the Sky. Released in 1988, the film follows a father and his two daughters, Mei and Satsuki, as they move to an old house in the countryside in order to be closer to the hospital their mother is staying at. Throughout the film, both Satsuki, around age 10, and Mei, around age 4, discover and befriend various spirits that reside over their home and the forest. Particularly Mei, who is immediately obsessed with the soot spirits and even meets Totoro face to face pretty early into the film. Although Totoro is generally considered a fairly lighthearted film, especially compared to the other Ghibli productions, there's an underlying sadness that follows Satsuki and Mei as they cope with their mother's hospice. Satsuki ends up taking care of her younger sister a lot while her father works, pushing an additional responsibility onto a young girl already stressed about her mother's condition, moving houses, and starting at a brand new school. Mei, on the other hand, being portrayed as only 4 years old, is at an age where a mother figure is incredibly important, and the absence of one takes a toll on the emotional well-being of any child, especially one as young as Mei. All of this turmoil is pretty understated, however, as we really only get the culmination of their worries and fears at the tail end of the film. Totoro, along with the other spirits, allow Satsuki and Mei to actually be kids and keep their childlike wonder despite going through tough times. Mei has the easiest time connecting with the forest spirits, as it seems the younger you are, the more fantasy and reality can converge. I think this is due to how children tend to view the world, full of possibilities, unknowns, and endless discovery. My Neighbor Totoro had 2 major English dubs. The original was released theatrically in 1993 and later on DVD in 2002, produced by Fox Video. After the rights to this dub expired in 2004, Disney released a new English dub with an entirely new cast in 2006, which remains the most widely available version of the film today. Strangely, despite being born in 2002, I actually grew up with the original 1993 dub, and there's an interesting story behind that. My mom claims to have discovered the movie in a bargain bin and bought it for only a few dollars. She didn't know what it was, but thought it looked cute, so she bought it for a 3-year-old baby Yori to watch. It must have been around 2005 when my mom purchased this DVD, meaning the new Disney dub was still in production, and for some reason, whatever store my mom bought the DVD at was trying to get rid of them. My mother had no idea what effect this movie would end up having on me. I want to start off this section with a story directly from my mom, since I really don't remember these events at all.
But yeah, I used to go to the dollar store all the time and just get like odd movies, and I'd never even heard of Hayao Miyazaki before. But I picked it up. I thought it looked cute, the cover of it, and it was only $1. And I probably picked up some other weird movies too. And then, yeah, it just.
How old was I? Was I 2 or 3?
I don't think you were 2 yet.
I wasn't 2 yet?
No, you weren't talking. And
I have to fix that in the script then, because I thought I was 3.
No, you weren't even 2 yet, because you could barely talk.
But you said after I watched the movie, I wanted a older sister.
Yeah. Well, later on.
Later on, okay.
I mean, you always loved that movie. But I don't even think you could talk I mean, you could say a few things but you were little, like a baby still, like wearing diapers.
Damn, I'm an unk weeb. Yeah. I'm like an old school weeb now.
Yeah. Yep. something about that character May just really struck you. I don't know. You'd want to rewind and watch that part where she climbed up on Totoro's belly. And just the way she laughed and stuff, just, I don't know, you loved it. You loved everything about that character. You just thought that was so hilarious. Like you wanted to be May. That's why you wanted to have a big sister.
I think May was such an incredible character for me to see on screen, being a toddler myself. It's possible she may have helped me self-actualize, realize that I was a person that existed, recognize my own thoughts, and begin forming memories. That might be a stretch, but I wouldn't even be surprised if it were true. After watching Totoro, I started asking my mom for an older sister because I felt like I was May and wanted my own Satsuki, although sadly that dream ended up being impossible. My favorite scene in the movie is when Satsuki goes to school, their dad has to stay home and work at his desk, and May is left to play outside with light supervision. Very light supervision, since May's dad loses track of her almost instantly. I just really love the energy of the scene. May acts so realistically for a 4-year-old girl, at first nagging her dad about lunch, then gathering up flowers and setting them on her dad's desk, pretending to be a flower lady. Eventually, she gets distracted by some tadpoles and goes to look for a bucket to catch them with, before noticing an acorn and dropping everything she was doing to go pick it up. The way she runs around and plays reminds me so much of being a kid myself, how interesting everything was around me, letting my imagination take over when left to play outside. When May notices the tiny Totoro running around, she begins to chase it, and when the small Totoro notices, concentrates to make itself invisible again. However, May reverses this by also concentrating, making it once again visible to her, and she chases it underneath the crawlspace of a house. I think this action by May adds to the idea that children have a sort of superpower when it comes to spirits. May is able to harness her imagination and whimsy into seeing these creatures clearly, despite them not wanting her to. This chase culminates in May falling into Totoro's tree, which becomes the infamous scene that made me laugh in my crib. I could go on and on about My Neighbor Totoro because I find it so fun to talk about. I think sometimes it gets brushed off as one of Miyazaki's less deep films, but I really disagree with that notion and think people should consider taking it under the microscope a bit more. Totoro, and especially May, are deeply intrinsic to my sense of self. May is almost a window into me as a toddler, which is why I feel so much joy watching it even after all these years. Watching this movie feels like becoming a kid again, all the happiness, fun, but also the feeling of helplessness when it feels like the whole world is crashing down around you, due to things out of your control. The best way to fight the spirits of darkness, however, is to laugh.
Come on, what are you waiting for? You have to laugh loud to scare a spirit.
I may have opened up a little bit too much in this video, so sorry if you didn't care to hear about all these random mimiyori facts, but I thought it would be fun to kind of dig into the effect anime has had on me, especially growing up. I've watched a lot of different anime and have absorbed them all in various ways, latching on to certain characters, themes, art styles, music, romances, philosophies. It may sound cringeworthy to some, but the reason I make videos on this channel is to express how important anime is to me, as I don't think it's fair to say that I just watch it for entertainment. I want something out of these shows, and the ones that I really like are able to give me something to latch onto, something to remember or take with me as I keep moving through life, even something as small as liking a single line that a character says. I think my goal with all this, the figures, the manga, the cosplay, is simply to treasure the art that has inspired me throughout my whole life. Some of these anime are precious cornerstones of my heart, have guided me in my darkest moments, and have helped me realize my dreams, so I'll never stop talking about them. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. I'm not always this sentimental, but it's nice to do a video like this every once in a while in between videos talking about girl fails and characters ruined by the internet. If you'd like to see another video of me talking about anime that has impacted me and why, leave a comment down below. I definitely didn't cover everything, particularly Fruits Basket 2001, due to the fact that I have way too much to say and wouldn't have been satisfied with just giving it a small section instead of its own video. So if you want to see me glaze Fruits Basket 2001 for 30 plus minutes, make sure to let me know. Thank you to my mom, my partner Lime Jinjo, Dylan who edited this, and you for watching. See ya.
"不思議なことに携帯だけじゃ